Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel, and what I have here for you today is the WLToys radio controlled 4-wheel drive off-road vehicle. Now, right up front, for full disclosure, I am not sponsored by GearBest. However, they did send me this vehicle for review. Specifically, the model number for this guy is WLToys model 12428. So I went ahead and unboxed this several days ago, and I've been trying it out and having a load of fun for the last couple of days. This thing is amazing. If I had to classify this, this is not a toy at all, but it's not a hobby level kind of unit either. It's something in between. It's like entry level hobby, if there's a such thing, because it has a lot of the things that the professional hobby kind of units have as far as quality, build quality, and maybe even the motor and the all-wheel drive functionality. However, it also doesn't abide by all the standards, such as the screws are not Torx, they're Phillips screws, and the transmitter receiver are not standard either. So if you want to upgrade this to that level, it's going to require a little bit of work, and I don't know if it's worth it, because this thing is so cheap. For what you get, it's an unbelievably awesome value. This thing is selling for $68.59 at GearBest. That is incredible for that price. And it's only for a limited time. They're sort of having a flash sale. So I'm rushing this video to you so you don't miss out on this if you're interested. And if you are interested, I went ahead and provided a link in the description box below. So like I said, I've gotten this several days ago, and I have been trucking it around in my backyard, which is high grass and kind of wet. So you can see that is not an ideal condition for this. I'm putting it through its paces. And I wasn't afraid to try to wreck it. I'm putting it through the test. I want to make sure it's not something that you would potentially order, and then after one rollover, it's shot. No, this thing is built for some good hard use. I also had it on gravel, and I sort of ran it around and doing donuts. This thing is capable of actually just barely able to do a wheelie, which is absolutely incredible. Also has an extremely large motor for its size. After watching some reviews, I've heard the statements of the 540 brush motor that is in this is typically found in 1/10 model scale, and this is 1/12, so it's a smaller scale, but they put something that you would normally put in a larger unit. So very impressive motor. It can theoretically go 30 miles an hour in ideal conditions. So it's time to go over some of the stuff here instead of just me talking. Here's the manual. It's not the greatest manual in the world. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, if even that. The English in here was basically machine translated from probably Chinese. So it's it could be comical at times, but it gets the job done, is what it does. So, and it has a lot of good information. There's your motor inside, so I'm not going to break this open. And they have part numbers for everything, so if you need to order new parts, if you do some damage to it, which everything is breakable at some point, especially in the Navy. But you can get some really good details here for part numbers and things like that. Or you can go ahead and upgrade it if you're ready to make that leap. Now I'm charging my battery right now. This is the battery that came with it, and I'm charging it because I've been messing with it for a while. And it's made with two 18650 batteries wrapped, and it's 1500 milliamp hour and 7.5 volts. So I guess in a crunch, worst case scenario, you could always solder together two 18650 batteries and move this over if the batteries ever go, or just buy a new one. Very easy. Let's talk about the charger itself. Let me reach over here. Here's the charger, and if you notice, it's using the Euro plug here. That's what you're going to get. So what you need to remember is you need to convert this if you're in the US, and as you can see, it says 220, 240 volt right there. So what you're going to have to buy is one of these cheap little doodads if you're in the US, or if you use these kind of plugs. And I provided some links deep in the description box below near the end where you can go ahead and purchase this off of GearBest, which they don't have it in stock, but it only costs like $1.75 for 4 of these. Or I went ahead and put a link on Amazon where they show a bunch of these too. So they're cheap. So if you get on Amazon, you get it like in 1 or 2 days, and all you do is just sort of pop it on there, and then you can charge your battery. The downside to this is, since the charger's made for a higher voltage, your battery's going to take longer to charge. I would say about 3 to 4 hours is what it's taken me to charge it up. And by the way, where's the light there? I'm going to go ahead and just show you what the charger looks like. I have a lot of chargers here, but here's the charger I just plugged in. It's red, and when it'll start flickering between red and green, eventually go green. That means your battery is charged. So here is the controller, or the transmitter. You have your typical trigger, so this would make it go forward. It's proportional, and then to brake and then go backwards, you just push out just like that, and you steer it. By the way, proportional steering, not like that crap at Walmart, and I'll show you what the difference is. It's a big deal, trust me. But so it has some nice foam there. It's operated using 4 AA batteries, which are not included. I put some rechargeable ones in there. Just pop it in there, and then it gives it some weight, and it feels substantial. When you don't have the batteries in it, feels really empty, plasticky, and light, but it gets the job done, and it is better quality than the units you get off from Walmart. Okay, there's your on-off switch on your transmitter, and then you have your mode 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's basically to change the frequency before the unit. In the manual is the procedure for changing the mode. That's so you can operate a couple of these in close proximity. The range of this is listed as about 325 feet. So it has a pretty good range. I did not hit the limit. It did very, very well. Let's take a look at the unit here before plugging it in, because my battery's still charging. But man, this thing is solid. First of all, this feels like it's like nylon, but I mean, it's tough. I've rolled this over, like I said, so you don't want it to be brittle. You want this to be malleable, to give a little bit so it doesn't break. You don't want it brittle. Wheels, nice squishy rubber wheels. And look, by the way, this is four-wheel drive. See that? Like a differential in a car. You got your shocks right there. Now, here's a con. They're not fluid or oil filled. They're just springs, but they seem to get the job done pretty good, as you can see there. So it is a little bouncy, and it, you know, if you it could get out of control to flip because it's bouncy. Just know that. And check this out. Look at that big old differential. Your rear differential. Look at that CV joint or UV joint or whatever you want to call it. Your axle, and some of it's metal. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive. Metal down in there. And you also have some, see, metal here, metal plate. Look at this. This is pretty impressive. I'm going to show you the difference between this and a comparably priced Walmart guy, and the differences and why you want this. But check that out, man. Just good old suspension. It can bounce around. It just really, really cool. And it has lights, and we'll show you those in a moment. But you have 2 lights there, and you have 4 lights overhead. Really nice. You know, funny looking guy right there. By the way, if you see dirt, it's because I've been using it, like I said. So like I said, this uses a 540 brushed motor. I believe it's located right behind this paddle here. Again, Phillips screws. You can take this all apart. And this is some tough plastic on the bottom, by the way, but it's there. By the way, here's your on-off switch right here. Got some weight, man. This is a 2.4 gigahertz for the transmitter, receiver, and charging time, like I said, 3 hours. You get about 10 minutes of run time with this, depending on how hard you push it. I pushed this pretty hard. Look at all the dirt still coming off this thing. I pushed this pretty hard for the first couple of runs. So the next run, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my SD cam to the top of this so I could get some first-person view kind of shots to add to the video to make this fun and interesting. Sort of like that. Almost forgot to tell you, they also included a little Phillips screwdriver and something to undo the nuts so you can go ahead and change your wheels just like that. You can see there's a nut right there, and you can do your little tire change. By the way, this guy on the back right here, this spare is actually a real wheel. Putting in the battery is kind of easy. You just sort of lay this guy down in here, and then you take this guy and put it on the post just like that, and then you take this clip, get in there. There we go. Let me do a close-up so you can see what that clip and post look like. Just like that. There's the battery. It's moving around. I guess that's why they fed that wire underneath. So maybe I'll redo that after my battery is fully charged. But I wanted to show you something really quick. Remember I told you about the crap they sell at Walmart? I want to show you some huge differences. I'm going to flip this over just like this, where you could see the steering wheel. And I'm going to turn this guy on. This is how it works. You turn this on, and then you turn this on. Okay, now, check this out. This is proportional steering. This is what proportional steering does. You turn it a little bit. See that? I'm just turning it a little. Just a little, or a lot. See that? That's called proportional steering. This gives you very good control of the vehicle. And you also have your trim controls where you could, you know, if this is not centered or it seems to go off in a direction a little bit, you can sort of adjust your trim a little bit to get everything centered. So when you let go of the steering wheel, it goes straight. And then you also have trim for your throttle right here. Then of course, like I said, woo, four-wheel drive, see? So front wheels are going, and the back wheels are going, see? Front and back. So this is all-wheel drive. So this is $68. And let me show you, if you were to go out to Walmart, what you would get for the same money. Alright, so here's a Walmart special. It's called the Reaper. I'm going to go ahead and turn this guy over so you can sort of see. First of all, here's your front wheels. Look how wobbly, look at the build quality. It's kind of, it's almost a joke. It's a toy. It's not hobby level. And look how the wheels just sort of wobble on the axles. This is the way it was out of the box, by the way. And it's so the motor's attached to the back, and you can see it doesn't have any kind of differential going on back there. So both back wheels turn at exactly the same speed. And let me show you what the steering is like on this. So I can go ahead and turn there. Very cheap controller. And let's get this going. Well, helps if I turn it on. Alright. First of all, not near as fast. Check out the steering. Alright, there we go. See this? Not proportional. When you turn left or right, it just bang, one or the other. Nothing in between. That's what you get for your money, for the same comparable money at Walmart. It's crap. Again, look at the strength and everything you're getting here. And look how nice and steady these wheels are. They're not like flopping around all over the place. They're just solid. I cannot begin to tell you how much fun this is. Now I just wanted to show you two more things real quick. One is the sports cam that I sort of put on top. That's how we got some of those onboard pictures. It's a SJ7 Star that I had reviewed recently. So just go back a couple of videos, you'll see it right there. I just had it in 1080p with stabilization. I didn't go 4K because I don't post videos typically in 4K, including this one. Anyway, the other thing I didn't show you was the light. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn that on just so you can see what those lights look like. Right there. There you go. So if you want to go driving in the dark, be bold, go for it. But absolutely amazing for the price. I mean, for $68, this much is absolutely incredible. This fast. I didn't think I would have this much fun with it because I do quadcopters and flying stuff. So I mean, on the ground, rolling around, I didn't think it would be exciting, but holy crap, this is exciting. And I would have never gotten to experience what it could really be like. Because before, the crap that I was getting at Walmart, i.e., for example, this crap, you're not going to get to know how much fun it really is until you get something in that hobby grade. And this is sort of that entry level, right edging in to that hobby grade, but at an extraordinary high value type of price that you could only get at places like GearBest, which, by the way, the link is in the description box below. The camera's not included, and also the batteries that were in the controller were not included. Everything else that you saw is included. Absolutely incredible. Highly recommended. The pros was that 540 brushed motor, which gave it this incredible speed of 30 miles an hour. The proportional steering at this price. The four-wheel drive at this price. Okay, those are your big pros. Plus, I've rolled this thing about 10 times while I've had it, and not even one issue at all because of it. Cons, the shock absorbers are not oil filled, so when you're on those bumps and especially when turning, it can bounce and make it roll over, so you need to understand that. And if you want, you could change these out. I mean, everything is screwed together. There's your screw. And you know, you can change out these things if you really want to. That EU charger, so you got to get that little adapter that I did mention, and I put a link in the description box below. And I think those were the major cons. But other than that, oh, and one thing, I didn't list it here, but I just remember that I think the receiver transmitter stuff was not standard. So when you do, inevitably, if you go into the hobby grade stuff, the fancy transmitter that you get probably won't work with it, so you'll have to start changing stuff out. But at that point, you probably want to get something better, which is going to cost you a lot more. So again, this is going to give you that pretty close to real experience of hobby grade kind of stuff without the cost, and then you could make your decision whether you want to spend all that money, and make sure you discuss it with your spouse first, because I am not to blame. It's all you. Alright, thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really do appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and especially you. And I hope you have a great day or evening. Take care. Bye.